Let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Thanks. So let's get started with today's agenda. So today, okay, I'm going to cover about the storage accounts. So we majorly focus on so what type of storage accounts we have? I'll simply say as a storage account, and what are the replication types we have, like or else I say redundancy. Okay, how many types of redundant types? Okay, we have to replicate the data. Okay, for providing high security. In addition to that, okay, we'll also discuss about okay, so let's say just a second. I'll go to storage account. So while creating a storage account, okay, we have some additional things. Okay, let's quickly discuss about them. Yeah, performance tier. Okay, so we have a two types of performance tier. In addition to that, okay, so yeah, redundancy I already mentioned, and also yeah, so this will be fair enough. Okay, we also had a account kind, but I think okay, they made some changes here. That is fine. Okay, so let's quickly discuss about those things. Okay, on a high level for today. So let's come back here. So the storage accounts is also very important. Okay, when you work as a Azure administrator. Okay, so first, okay, let's see what is storage account. Okay, so you don't know. Okay, as the name indicates, okay, these particular storage accounts will be used to store some data. That could be any kind of data. Okay, to store any specific data, we have a different types of storage accounts. So we'll discuss about it now. So just to make it simplified, okay, so I just use this particular diagram from my previous session. So I'll quickly walk you through here itself. If you see here, okay, so every storage account will be having a capacity of almost like a 500 TB. And at this moment, okay, here I told you, right, okay, we have a four types of storage accounts. So one is like a blob storage, file share, queues, and table. I'm repeating again, we have a completely four types of storage accounts. So one is like a blob storage, file share, queues, and tables. We'll discuss about each functionality of these storage accounts. So first coming to the blob storage. So again blob storage, okay, again we have a three types. So one is like a page blob, append blob, and block blob. Okay, so let me discuss about these three functionalities first. Okay, within a blob storage, okay, we have a three types of storage accounts. So whatever the data that you store under this particular blob storage, okay, those data will be stored according to their blob types. So first talk about page blob. So under this page blob, whatever the VHDs that you upload, so whenever you take a VHD, virtual hard disk of any server, let's say if at all if you wanted to upload any virtual hard disk of your on-premises servers, okay, we can upload into the storage account. And when you upload into the storage accounts, that data will be uploaded into the under blob storage as a page blob. Okay, I'm repeating again. So page blob is nothing but, so we'll be uploading the VHDs, that is virtual hard disk. Okay, and maybe Azure virtual machine to maintain their hard disk also. So on a high level, okay, we'll be uploading hard disk under this particular page blob, and the capacity will be like a 4 TB. And coming to the append blob, so append blob, okay, here, okay, we'll be storing the logs. Okay, so these logs could be any logs, on a subscription level logs, or maybe any different logs. So ideally within organizations, what happens is whenever you create any subscription, right, so we'll be pulling the logs and we'll be storing those logs into the storage accounts. And from there, okay, they will be pulling the logs to into different Splunk environment for the logging purpose. Splunk is one of the logging tool, okay, wherein you can perform some analysis. Okay, forget about it for now, but I'm just telling you on a high level. So whenever you capture the logs and store it in a storage account, that will be stored under this particular append blob. And coming to the block blob, and here, okay, under a block blob, okay, we kind of store unstructured data. It could be like any video files or any audio files, any files, anything. Okay, and each file sizes will be could be like this. and the maximum capacity of this particular storage account is also 5 TB. Okay, so I'm repeating these three once again: page blob, append blob, and block blob. And page blob will be used to store the VHDs, that is virtual hard disk or any VM Azure Virtual Machine disk. And coming to the append blob, okay, we generally store logs into the append blob, and blob will be storing a unstructured data like a video files and audio files or any files. Okay, this is on a high level about the blob storage. And whereas coming to the file, so this file share is kind of a file share, common file share within your organization. So for the people who are already working, like you might be having a network drive, right? So wherein you will be having your project related documentation, and very specific people will be having an access to that, right? Same as here. So we can create a file share and we can mount this file share to your virtual machines. Okay, and the maximum capacity of this particular file share is like a 5 TB. And likewise, okay, we can create up to 100 file shares in a single subscription. Okay, so we'll also see in detail demo how to create a file share and how we can mount these particular file share to both the Windows as well as Linux virtual machines, and what are the use cases also we'll see. Okay, why do we use the file share and all those stuff. And coming to the queues and tables, okay, queue storage accounts generally will be used, okay, for the messaging purpose, like a messaging queues. Like if you have any environment, okay, wherein okay you wanted to receive some messages and store it in a storage account, like we'll be using this particular queue services, messaging queues. And each size should be minimum 256 KB, and it can store up to 500 TB of messages can be stored under this particular queue storage. And coming to the table storage is kind of NoSQL database kind of, and here you will be not having any schema, and here okay you can store the data up to 500 TB, same as here. So this is the just on a high level, okay, the different types of the storage account. Okay, we'll discuss in detail about one by one now. Okay, once again I'm repeating. So we have a blob storage, file share, queues, and tables. So this is very important even for the interviews also. Whenever you talk about storage account, okay, you definitely go take a question, okay, explaining about the storage account. If you can explain this particular diagram exactly what I have said now, that is fair enough. Okay, so blob storage, file share, queues, and tables. Okay, let's move back here. So these are the types of storage account that we have, and let us quickly discuss about the types of this redundancy. Okay, let's go back here. I'll open the Azure storage redundancy. Okay, so let me go to the Microsoft document itself. And if you see here, okay, here we have a different redundancy types. Okay, that is LRS and ZRS, right? So RGRS and other something. Okay, let us quickly discuss about these for now. Okay, so we have different types. Okay, let me put list out the first. Okay, yeah. So we have a locally redundant storage that we call it as LRS. First, I will list out all the okay. So what I was telling is okay. So here we have like uh, you know I think it is not zone, it is geo. So here we have like a geo zone redundant storage also. This is like a GZRS, and we also have a one more like read access.
Ram,
Okay,
you're sharing the screen?
I'm sharing my screen. Can't you see? Is it only for you or for
No,
the others?
I'm not sure.
Can you confirm others?
I can see your screen.
Oh, okay. Let me do one thing. I'll reshare my screen again. Okay, I'm resharing my screen. Can you please confirm once again? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
How about you, Suma? Okay, fine. Okay, so if you see on a high level, okay, here we have like these six complete, redundant features. Okay, let us discuss about what is this redundancy feature and why they are really, helpful to secure your data. Okay, whenever you are keeping your data in a cloud, that means into another company's data center, companies are concerned about the security and the redundancy. Okay, so like for that, okay, Microsoft has come up with this particular redundancy feature. So first of all, okay, LRS is nothing but a locally redundant storage. Whereas like whenever you store some data into your storage accounts, okay, what happens is, okay, here if you see, this is the locally redundant storage. And if you see here, so when you keep the redundant feature as a LRS, what Microsoft does is, okay, Microsoft will store your data into three copies in a single data center. Let's say today I have chosen as a data center as a like central India. Okay, so within central India, that means in Pune. In Pune data center, whatever the data that you store into the storage account, okay, the same data will be in, you will be having into three copies. Okay, so it how it will be stored, okay, into the different domains. Okay, those are all okay, Microsoft will manage internally. So if any damage happens, okay, your data will be redundant from the other domains by having a multiple copies. Okay, this is the concept of LRS, and you can see the documentation here. Locally redundant storage replicates your data three times within a single data center in a primary region, and LRS provide you at least 99.99%, okay, that is 11 nines durability for the object over the given year. Okay, and you can go through this particular remaining stuff here. Okay, once again I'm repeating. So by keeping an LRS, that is local redundant storage, whatever the data that you store, okay, you will be having a complete three copies of data in a single data center. I would say primary data center. I just name it as a DC, as a data center. Okay, so that is a local redundant storage. And coming to the zone redundant storage, let's come back here. So what happens is, okay, if you remember, we have discussed about the availability zone features. Okay, so within a single region, you will be having a multiple zones like a zone 1, zone 2, and zone 3, right? So here, okay, when you go with the ZRS, that is zone redundant storage, your data will be copied into multiple zones. That means one copy into the availability 1, one copy into the availability zone 2, and another copy into the availability zone 3. So that if due to any DR, if entire data center collapses, okay, or damages, okay, your data will be redundant from the another data center. So that is like a zone redundant. Okay, you have to use the word called zone redundant. So here, okay, same as here. Okay, you can see one extra line here. Okay, earlier, okay, we had 11 lines. Okay, here we have a 12 lines. Okay, that is the durability of the Microsoft is guaranteeing. And when you go with the ZRS, here also you will be having three copies of your data, and it will be stored into availability zones. Okay, that is a difference between LRS and ZRS. Okay, so I know try to focus on these. Okay, because even in interviews, okay, when you talk about the redundancy features, they will ask you for the differences. Okay, so with LRAs and ZRAs, okay, we are storing the data into only primary data center. And here, okay, you will be storing a three copies. Here also you will be storing a three copies. The difference is, okay, here, okay, we are storing in a single data center, but whereas here, okay, we are storing the data into multiple availability zones. And coming to the geo redundant storage, okay, let's talk about this now. So what happens is with the geo redundant storage, okay, let me move ahead. Yeah. So geo redundant storage. So what happens with the geo redundant storage is your data will be stored into two regions. That is primary region and a secondary region. And within here, okay, you will be having certain support metrics. You can't store your data like primary regions could be like central India and secondary will be somewhere in the USTS. It will not support like that. Okay, so Microsoft itself, okay, they have some certain support matrix, and your data will be by default segregated into the primary as well as secondary. Okay, here what happens is you will be having a complete six copies of data. So within your primary you will be having a three copies, and within secondary region you will be having complete three copies. Okay, with the help of geo redundant storage. And here you could see the objects at least, okay, complete 16 so that is 99.9. Okay, this is the durability. Okay, so Microsoft is guarantee. That is the concept of the GRS, that is geo redundant storage. And whereas, okay, here you will be having complete six copies of data. Okay, six copies and two regions are two data centers. I would say primary and secondary. Okay, let's say. Uh, Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry for the disturbance. Is there any possibility? Okay, can we connect around like 8:30? Like my son is getting fever. I need to go to my medical now. Sorry for
Yeah.
the
Okay.
inconvenience. Can we connect? Great. So let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, let me quickly log into my portal first. So let me open the document. Yeah. So I think yesterday we started discussing about the storage accounts, and we have discussed about the types of the storage accounts, right? Yesterday, and we were just discussing about the redundancy features, and in between we stopped. That is fine. So we have discussed till here, right? That is like LRS, ZRS, and RAGRS. That is locally redundant storage, zone redundant storage, and geo redundant storage. And we'll completely remain discuss the remaining these two three, and we'll get into the creation of storage accounts, and we'll see what are the features we have. So let me go back here. I'll walk you through the document once again. And this is what we discussed, that is local redundant storage, whereas your data will be copied into three copies within a data center with LRS. And whereas with the ZRS, your data will be replicated into multiple availability zones in a single data center. And coming to the GRS, okay, so your data will be replicated into primary and secondary regions. And within a primary, you will be having a 3 copies of data, and within a secondary, you will be having another 3 copies of data. That means completely 6 copies. Okay, so here, if I go back here, yeah. So till here, okay, that is GRS, that is geo redundant storage, and we also have one more like RA. Okay, read access geo redundant storage, same as like a GRS, but here, okay, what happens is, okay, same here like this. Okay, so your data will be replicated into 2 regions, that is primary and secondary, and you will be having completely 6 copies, 3 copies in a primary region and 3 copies in a secondary region. But here the difference is, okay, so with the help with in case of GRS, what happens is you will be having a live data within a primary region itself, and you will be not having a live data in a secondary region. But whereas in case of this particular RAGRS, okay, your data will you will be having a read only access from the secondary region also for the live data. Okay, so once again I'm repeating, when you go with a GRS, that is geo redundant storage, what happens is your data will be replicated into the both the regions, but the live data and the read write operations you will be having only in a primary region. Okay, you will be not having any read write operations in a secondary region in case of GRS. But whereas what happens is with the RAGRS, so while the read writes happening in the primary region, you will be having write, I mean like a read access from the secondary region. That is the advantage of, okay, that is we call it as RAGRS. You will be having a read only access from the secondary region. Okay, just to make you make sure that to give some more example. Okay, I would say, okay, Azure storage, GRS versus RAGRS. Yeah, let's see. Okay, do we have any images here? Okay, so let me try to open this, any one of these. Okay, let me copy these. Let me put it here. Okay, I think, okay, it has some detailed information here. And if you see here, okay, the first one will be like a LRS. Okay, within a data center, okay, we'll be having a 3 copies, and this is also same. And this is the RAGRS. Okay, so the data will be like asynchronous mode. Okay, this is your primary region, that will be like east to S2 in this example, and your secondary region will be like a US central. Okay, so while the data read and writing, like let's say if I am uploading any data, okay, so the data will be stored within this particular USE2 region, and at the same time this secondary region will be like asynchronous mode, and you will be having a read access from the secondary region. Okay, that is the advantage of going with the RAGRS. And the same as, okay, we here we have 2 more features. Okay, so that we will discuss now. So let's go back here, and this is like a zone redundant, and in between, okay, we have a geo. Okay, so let's talk about this now for now. Okay, if I go back here, and if you see here, okay, we discussed about the zone redundant storage, that is like ZRS. What happens here? Okay, so your 3 copies will be replicated into multiple zones, same as, okay, we are just adding into the geo. That means we are distributing the same thing to the multiple region, I mean like a multiple region. So that is like a primary region and secondary region. Here it is only specific to single region. So what happens with the geo zone redundant is, okay, so here you could see within your primary data center, you will be distributed the data into ZRS model. That means your data will be distributed into multiple availability zones. Okay, as you could see here. Okay, so availability zone 1, 2, and 3, complete 3 copies. And within your secondary, your data will be replicated as just like LRS. That means, so here, okay, it is giving high an additional protection, like within your primary data will be distributed into multiple availability zones, but whereas within a secondary you will be having only in a LRS model. That means in a single data center you will be having a 3 copies. So that is the advantage of going with this particular GZRS and RAGZRS. With RAGZRS also same thing. Okay, so here your data will be having asynchronous mode, and you will be having a read permission here. So here also you will be having complete 6 copies and 2 data center. If you're not speaking, can you please be on mute? Thanks. And same as here. Okay, you will be having complete 6 copies, okay, within 2 data centers, but within a primary data center you will be having a ZRS model. Okay, as you could see here. Okay, these are the high level six complete six redundancy features. So whereas, okay, if at all if you wanted to protect your data, okay, we can choose any one of these particular redundant feature, so that you can provide a high availability and security for your data without losing. Okay, so coming to the performance, okay, we have like standard and premium. Okay, so if I go with the standard and premium, okay, when you go with the standard, okay, so you will be get a backend storage type as like HDD, and when you go with the premium, okay, you will be getting a backend storage as like SSD. Okay, wherein, okay, you will be having a high processing speed, and whereas, okay, with the standard you will be having a less processing speed. Okay, this we'll discuss in detail now while creating a storage account. So this is the high level, okay, so steps, okay, so related to the storage account. And we also have one more feature, that is like a access tier we call it is. So here we have a three different access tiers. Okay, one is hot and archive. Okay, so what does it mean access tier? Okay, typically, okay, for the storage accounts, the pricing will be calculated not depends on the data that you store. Okay, this is also one of the important thing. Okay, so within interviews, okay, how the pricing will be calculated for the storage accounts. Okay, pricing will be calculated for the storage account not depends on the size of data. It depends on the number of amount of data that you upload and download, how much of transactions, okay, that we perform. Okay, based on that, okay, this particular pricing will be calculated. So let me quickly go through the pricing page here. I would say pricing. Okay, so here you could see for, pricing for the block and a pricing. I'll go directly to the pricing. Let's go here. And if I come down, okay, here you could see based on the redundancy feature. Okay, here you could see all the redundant features here. And if I go with this particular central India, okay, here you could see the what will be the pricing. And I was just talking about this particular, this performance style and the access styles, right? So these are the based on these particular things, okay, the pricing will be calculated. So if I go with the premium one, okay, as a performance style, and okay, the pricing will be like per TB per month. Okay, first of 50 terabytes, not the 1 terabyte, complete 50 terabytes per month. Okay, so this will be the cost. And when you go with the heart is nothing but, okay, like you're accessing the data very frequently. That means you're uploading and downloading the data very frequently. Okay, that is called as a hot. And coming to the cool, it is like a opposite to that. Okay, you're not no accessing data or uploading the data or downloading the data, that not that's frequently. Okay, that is like a cool. And coming to the archive is kind of like recycle bin on your local system. If at all if you don't want something, right, okay, what you will do, you will delete it, and that data will be restored within your like recycle bin folder, okay, within your local system. Same as here. So within a storage account also, if you don't want some data, okay, so instead of you keeping it, okay, what you can do is, okay, we can just keep into the archive model. Okay, when you keep it to the archive model, okay, that data will be not accessible for anyone, because okay, we have just kept it in the archive. So if at all if you wanted to retrieve it, let's say, okay, so today I decided that okay, I don't want this particular data, I can just keep into the archive mode. So let's say after 3 months, okay, you decided that I wanted that data really important. So in those scenarios, okay, we can retrieve it also. Okay, you will be having a certain redundant retention period. I think it is for 90 days or something, we will check it now. So within those time, okay, we can retrieve this particular data. And here you could see, so if you wanted to go with over 500 TB, okay, this will be the cost. Okay, so the pricing will be calculated based on the transactions what you perform. Fine. So let's come back here. So these are the three access types, that is cool, archive, and hot. Okay. So let me go back and try to quickly create a storage account, and we'll see what are the features that we have. I'll go here. I'll create a resource. and I'll just simply type storage account, or else what you can do is, okay, you can go to this particular category here. Under this category I have like storage here. So the last one, storage, and within here, okay, I can search for it. Sometimes if I don't see it here, okay, I can just simply type, okay, at the top here, okay, I would say storage account. Okay, so here, okay, I just went into the storage account tab, and here you could see Microsoft Azure provides you scalable, durable, and cloud storage backup and recovery solution for data, big or small. Okay, so you can just go through the technical definition. If at all, if you wanted to go navigate to the documentation page also, here you could see, okay, everything like a service overview, documentation, and pricing. Okay, so that same page, okay, it will be navigated here. Okay, so for blob, okay, so manage these files, okay, everything, okay, you can see the in detail pricing here. So let's come back here for now. Let me quickly create it. Yeah. So here we go. So same as so as a first step, okay, we'll be choosing a subscription and resource group for every resource, because that is the hierarchy which is designed. And for now, okay, so I have these many resource groups here, and I'll go with this particular any one of the storage accounts. So I'll go with a demo backup project. And here if you see, okay, so the storage account name should be always unique, okay, across your any subscriptions. Either it may be free trial subscription or enterprise subscription. The storage account always should be unique, and it should be minimum 3 characters and maximum 24 characters long. Let's say for example, today if I give demo as a capital D, okay, it will not accept it. Okay, the field can contain only lower letter and numbers. The name must be between 3 and 24 characters. This is very very important. Okay, so try to make a note. So if at all, if you try to create a storage account with the capital letters, it will not accept you. And at the same time, it should be minimum 3 characters and a maximum 24 characters. Okay, so for now, and it should be unique. Let's say I'll just say demo. Okay, it will not accept, because this particular name might be somebody might be already using it. Okay, is already taken. Okay, the name always should be unique. Let's say I would say demo storage account, and I will give today's date like a 2020, and today month is 05, and today's date is 25, I guess. Okay, I can give some random date, something like this. Okay, just to make sure that to identify it. Okay, I'm just giving in a reverse way. Okay, today's 2021, I'm sorry. Yeah. So likewise, okay, you can create a unique storage account namings. Like what I'm giving. Okay, I'm just giving certain name like a demo, or maybe within your organization you will be creating with your project namings. Okay, and iphones and everything will not accept here. If let's say if I keep an iphone here, it will not accept. Okay, it should be only characters and numbers, and it will be like a small, and everything should be unique. That name should not use any other across the Microsoft tenants or subscriptions. Alright. So now I have given a unique name. Okay, so it has already accepted. And coming to the reason, let's go with a reason here. And coming to the performance. So this is we have already discussed, right? Standard and premium. Okay, so when I go with the standard here, okay, so here it is giving some general purpose V2. Okay, we had an storage account kind earlier. I think they made some changes here. Okay, very recent. So we'll see later here. And if you see here, when I go with the premium, okay, recommended for the scenarios that requires a low latency. That means, okay, so the processing speed will be too high compared with this particular uh, standard.